Greetings, Earthlings. On today's episode of the Shaman Patrick Show, we're going to talk about this. You think you want to be enlightened. You think you want to go through a spiritual awakening. If it has not completely ripped you apart, fucked you up, destroyed your life, you may not have gone through a spiritual awakening. Many of you out there have gone through that rough, raw, devastating, alarming, destructive spiritual awakening. It rips you apart. Oh God, that's why I wave people away from shamanism. That's why I wave people away from spirituality. Some people might say, Patrick, what are you into? What do you do? Oh, I'm spiritual. I'm into shamanism. Oh, I think I might want to get involved in that too. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're not already there, don't even fucking do it. It's not for you. You go off and play in the Matrix. There's lots of toys in the Matrix. There's lots of stuff there. So today, but for some of us, it happens without our consent. They call it enlightenment without consent. We're going to watch two videos today from two different creators who have two different takes on this enlightenment without consent. So you think you want to be enlightened, huh? Well, also in this episode, we're going to debut a new song that we made with the assistance of AI called You Want to Be Enlightened. I think you might like it. So all of these fun things and more today on the Shaman Patrick Show. Let's go.
He was once a storm in human form, sharp tongue, cold soul, heart worn and torn, living like a ghost who missed his grave till the spirit sang out and called him brave. He got rewired by the great unknown, heard the call like a dial tone to the bone. So pull up a chair, enjoy the glow. This is the Shaman Patrick Show.
I'm not going to discount anybody's spiritual awakening experience. I'm not going to discount that. That's not what this is about. There's always more to discover, new layers, new levels. With those new levels come new devils. It's a never-ending process. It'll never be done, thank God. Because expanding consciousness expands. You keep growing, you keep developing. There's new stuff every damn day. It's an ongoing thing. One of the reasons I wanted to do this separate Shaman Patrick show is so that I could talk about current events, but also talk about them in a way that's a spiritual lesson. And some days we'll focus just on spiritual lessons. Some days we'll react to something going on out in the world. But today we're going to look at some spiritual lessons from some other creators that I find really, really interesting. Enlightenment without consent. You saw in the opening theme song, that was kind of my enlightenment without consent, boiled into 30 seconds. And when I was made into a shaman, it was not by choice. I did not choose it. A shaman doesn't choose it. In fact, if any of you shamans out there, or if anybody out there, wait, let me say this a better way. If any of you out there think, ooh, I think I might want to be a shaman, I'm probably going to do a song titled, You Don't Want to Be a Shaman. The songs that we've been making with AI are spiritual lessons in a pop song. What a concept, huh? So let's get started with today's video. Well, we're going to watch two of them today. We're going to watch two videos today. And this first one is from a channel. Let me pull this up. This is from the channel Doorball, and it's titled Enlightenment Without Consent. Let's hear what he has to say. Why don't we?
I around and found out. 5 years ago, I had an experience that radically changed my life. What we call psychosis is often a spiritual event Western cultures don't understand. I know because I went through it. I didn't awaken through peace, I awoken through collapse, through mental breakdown. At my darkest moment when all hope was lost, I did a mega dose of acid and awoke the Kundalini Shag energy at the base of my spine. What the? Yo. There's an ancient concept from the East, Kundalini. It's said to be a serpent-like energy coiled at the base of your spine, and when it awakens, it rises like a snake through your nervous system, burning through illusion, tearing through ego, and showing you what's real. In an Abrahamic religion, there's a serpent in the Garden of Eden, often seen as the devil, but I believe that to be misunderstood. And hear me out. Here, let me take your lens of reality off.
Hypnotic degenerate propaganda on tap. Yeah, that's how you see this shit. When I went through my awakening, like that, God, I can't explain to you. It just all got exposed. I saw through the matrix on that night. Maybe one day I'll do an episode where I talk about that in depth with AI generated scenes, like showing you how it went down. That would be a fun project, wouldn't it? Then also you have this walking billboard right here.
Alright, it's time to wake up. The Garden of Eden might have not been paradise. It might have been ignorance. And as they say, ignorance is bliss. Eve, the feminine principle, meets the serpent. She's told, eat this and you'll become like the gods. You'll see good and evil. That's not sin. That's awakening. The serpent has always been a symbol of transformation. In Eastern traditions, it's Kundalini, the divine feminine coiled and waiting to rise. So maybe the garden wasn't lost, maybe it was left because Eve saw the truth. She awakened, and while we see endless suffering brought from it, the reality is enlightenment isn't sunshine and roses.
This is blasphemy. You'll burn in hell for your sins.
Well, I guess they don't call it a live studio audience for nothing. Anyways, each spotlight is a belief system, a way of seeing the world. So we have Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, science, philosophy, mysticism, psychology, psychedelics. Now all 10 are lit. What do we see? The truth.
Ooh. How was your awakening? For those of you real G's out there, how did you get through this part? You know, psychedelics are a one and done kind of thing. Like most of us come through consciousness through drug addiction. Most of us, addiction is initiation into the higher consciousness. And once you get sober, you actually go ahead and enter that higher consciousness. There are other ways to enter it as well. In the next video, we're going to see another way of entering it. But this guy entered it through psychedelics, and that's fine. Smoke your drugs, drink your drinks, hit that DMT pipe, do whatever you need to do. And then when it's time to get sober, that's when the real work begins. It does. But he includes psychedelics as a part of it. For many people, you can take a heroic dose of psychedelics. You really, really can. But it's not a lasting thing. It's not a lasting thing.
Not one of them holds the whole truth alone, but each one contributes. Each one outlines a piece of the circle. So before you cry blasphemy or bias,
son, you know, once you start, there's no going back.
Oh, there isn't.
I know.
This means total commitment. Once you begin the path, there is no leaving the path. Are you sure you're ready for that?
you thought a spiritual awakening was supposed to be bliss. Well, you're mistaken. You don't wait.
I thought it was supposed to be bliss. I thought it would, like, the first few days after I had this thing go on, this near-death experience, it was pretty magical. And I can't even explain all the things. It was kind of bliss. I was wandering through Chicago, looking at the world like it was brand new. I saw the world in a completely different way. I saw shapes like bridges that didn't make sense, and music didn't. It was just fucking gorgeous. And it was like being on drugs without being on drugs. You know, my awakening didn't happen as a result of psychedelics. It happened as a result of a lot of suffering. And also there were spirits that said, hey, this guy has suffered enough. We better kill him. We better kill this guy and rebuild him.
Awaken by basking in the light. You awake by watching everything you thought you were die. You want the truth, right? Then you deserve to know the risk. The path isn't safe, it's not clean, it's not gentle. Spiritual awakening sounds poetic in the books, but in the real world, it will break you over and over again. And just when you pick up the pieces, it's time to shatter again. 5 years ago, I was anorexic, and I was about to myself. Locked in a windowless room, too anxious to even use the bathroom, so I pissed in bottles for months. Now I'm in good shape and I've been traveling the world for about half a year. Sounds great, right? But don't let the highlight reel fool you. This path is not for the faint of heart.
And many people will say this path is not for the faint of heart. And, I think plastic people need plastic shamans. And even though I talk about fake spirituality on its way out, it does serve its purpose. It does serve a purpose. It gets people comfortable with the idea of spirituality. Fake people need fake spirituality. So even though I can be kind of harsh with that kind of stuff at times, I do recognize that in our culture, especially here in America, it probably is a necessary part of awakening. It probably is. The spiritual ego is very pernicious and malevolent, and that kind of, like, I would say fake spirituality is kind of a timeout chair for the spiritual ego. I think it's like it sections it off into something and keeps it distracted. So I don't think that we need to worry that much about fake spirituality, but we can decide that we're going to be teaching the real stuff. We're going to be focused on real spirituality.
You'll experience trial by fire, death and rebirth, and once it's started, you can't stop it. This isn't just some we're all stuck in the Matrix rant, okay? You don't need a spiritual awakening to see we're forced to work or die. No, this is deeper. This is seeing through yourself, people, and through reality itself. Every layer you pull back, there's just another layer. So I met a girl recently, and we've only been talking for a month, but I've never connected with someone like that before. We both had a list of what we were looking for in a partner, and we matched each other's oddly specific list.
I really like this guy's editing style. It's really fun.
Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, it was rare. But as time went on, the cracks began to show. Nothing dramatic, just subtle undertones, shifts in energy, and I felt it. I knew. So I made the decision to end it. I called her, no answer. So I texted, call me back when you see this. As I'm holding my phone, music playing in the background, then right as the chorus hits, it ends tonight, my phone lights up. She texts,
oh my God, I had spiritual experiences to that song. When darkness turns to light, it ends tonight. Oh my God, that song, even today, that song messes me up.
back, I'll call soon when I get home. And in that moment I knew, this is the end. She called, we spoke, it ended. Just like that, exactly a month after it started. But in that short time, she unearthed layers of childhood trauma I didn't even realize I was still carrying, and I processed it for the most part. She wasn't a mistake, she was a lesson, a reflection, and as I'm writing the story and the script, guess what song came on again? It Ends Tonight. Same song,
God.
Same timing again. And then almost as if we really wanted to put a bow on it, When the Morning Comes started playing. One of the 2 songs I ever added from her recommendations. And hear me out, I have 2,481 songs in my library. Those 2 in a row? Call it a coincidence if you'd like, but honestly, this happens regularly to me. Or we could call it what it really is.
It happens regularly to me as well. It's crazy. It is crazy. All these coincidences. How many times does something have to be a coincidence? I'm like, man, these aren't even coincidences anymore. Did anybody else go through that where you have so many coincidences, you're like, this is impossible. This is impossible.
Divine orchestration. Oh, and one more thing. I was introduced to her through a guy doing a 30-day fast for spiritual reasons. I know you'll be watching this, so thanks, homie. Now these lessons, they're for one reason and one reason only. Ego death, the loss of the false identity, not the aesthetic kind they talk about on social media, not the kind where you let go of your ego and still post about it the next day. I'm talking about real ego death, where the story you've clung to, who you are, and what you want, what you believe, your trauma, your perspective, it burns to ash. And all that is left is an essence, and non-resistance to reality. The moment no thought, no emotional turmoil, and just the flow of reality.
The path of surrender is a much easier path. The path of surrender is a lot easier. I know it sucks. I know surrendering it sucks. I know it's hard to let go of your hopes and dreams of your false self, but they came from your false self. If things don't work out for you, it's because your false self wants them. Isn't that a relief?
And that's when it hits you. You were never that story. You're just watching it. All right, show's over. Time to turn on, tune in, and drop out. And this is where you start getting detached from the world. Alienation is a natural part of the process because the truth is most people won't even glimpse what you've seen, let alone understand it. You'll find yourself surrounded by egoic masks, and I won't lie, witnessing it is really disturbing. So much
And it doesn't mean that you're better than other people. It doesn't mean you're worse than other people. It just means you can see things that other people cannot see. It's actually not that cool. It actually sucks. And it can be a lonely burden. It can be a lonely burden.
So it can feel unbearable just to be in the presence of it. People trapped in layers masking their true beauty, blind to themselves, blind to reality. And as much as you might wish you could go back to the comfort of ignorance, it's too late. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. There's no going back. And then you have the death of desire. When the ego starts to crumble, so does desire. The need for power, the craving for money, the chase for validation, status, legacy, recognition, you call it. All of it starts to fade. You stop wanting what the world told you to want. You stop playing the game. And in this world, those who don't play the game, they often end up at the bottom. No career, no plan, no safety net, just you staring into the void, wondering what the hell happens next. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you've just seen through it. But the system doesn't care. It will punish you for not desiring what it offers. This is where many lose their footing because truth doesn't pay the rent and freedom doesn't come with a 401k.
Right. This is where many people lose. Like, how do you go to work again when you can read people's minds? How do you go to work when you can see that it's all bullshit? How do you do that? I mean, if you can do that, if you know that it's all bullshit and you can still go to work, you can still do that. For many of us, we have to figure out our own thing.
Yeah.
Coming to bed, honey?
Yes, dear.
And I'm not saying I'm enlightened, I'm very much still on this path. Everything that once gave you a sense of self begins to fall away. You'll lose many friends, relationships, your career, even your sense of purpose. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your old world can't follow you into the new one. It's not destruction, it's purification. Your heart doesn't just open, it floods. You feel the pain of humanity like it's your own because in a way it is. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm kinda broke, okay? But I still give money to the homeless because I'm not hungry, but they are.
That's a wonderful way to put it. That's a wonderful way to put it. Because you do feel more. And, sometimes people will say that I'm not compassionate because I don't give into the pain buddy stories about it. And, true compassion is you feel it. And the only thing you can do about it is focus on yourself. The only thing you can do is focus on yourself. And focus on making your world a better place. Now, that guy says that he gives money to homeless people. I don't give money to homeless people because I know that if I give money to a homeless person, they're probably going to buy drugs with it. Like if a homeless person tells you they need money for gas or food, they don't. They want a rock. So I personally don't give money to homeless people, but I will try to help them get into rehab or help them get into or go to a meeting or something like that. So, he might be of service of that way. I'm of service in a different way. So you start to want to be of service at this period, post it. When he said he's not enlightened, I'm not enlightened either. We're all a work in progress. And I think if you, like, enlightenment is one of those things that you just stumble upon. Like, you just stop reacting to stuff. You just stop. It's not even that big of a deal. It's actually so low of a big deal that personally I would not even use the word enlightenment when I'm talking to people. But I am for the purposes of this video.
You see people clinging to illusions, and all you want to do is help, but you quickly learn not everyone wants to be saved. You try to walk people through hell to get them to heaven, but all they see is someone walking them through hell. You become a mirror. You come to find many hate their own reflection.
The world is going to hell, and nothing is ever fair.
Have you ever considered looking out your window? The ego doesn't always.
Oh my God, I say that. I say that all the time. I tell that to people all the time. Like, it's cool how different people can come to the same conclusions. Like when people tell me, Patrick, it's bad out there. It's so bad right now. Oh God, you have no idea how bad things are in the world. And I'm like, what's going on outside your window? And they're like, nothing. I said, are there soldiers marching? Is there some shit going on? What's going on out in the world? Nothing serious is ever going on. People will fight me on this. They do fight me on this, and that's okay. You can fight me on this as well. But I'm telling you, nothing serious is going on really ever at any time. I had a glitch there.
Boys die. Sometimes it just changes clothes. It trades I'm better because I'm rich for I'm better because I'm spiritual. You become more intuitive, more aware. Maybe people start listening to you. Maybe you start knowing things. And instead of dissolving the ego, it mutates, it evolves. It says, I'm enlightened. I'm above them. They don't get it, but I do. And that's
Oh my God. I know people who think that they're better or more spiritually evolved. I know them personally. It is wild. And I'll have a conversation with them like, are you homeless? Did you go broke? Did you have to completely change everything about you? Did you go through this? Nope, didn't have to. I just woke up in this life. It's amazing. It's just bliss. It's just so much bliss.
That's the trap. Spiritual ego feels righteous. It dresses itself in light while quietly anchoring you in darkness. Because now your identity is still rooted in separation, still rooted in self, still rooted in needing to be someone. Real awakening, it's not about becoming someone who knows more. It's about going until all the layers are gone. And what do you find? Nothing.
Ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing. So let's talk about that spiritual ego just a little bit more, because I had my brushes with spiritual ego, especially hanging out with other spiritual egos, spiritual one-upmanship. I remember talking to my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law was seeking enlightenment in this way. He is, by the way, my brother-in-law is a spiritual master now. He's moved way beyond me. He's evolved. We don't speak anymore. He's off on his own path, man. You know, and it is word salad nonsense coming from his mouth. It is wild. And I love that my brother-in-law is going through that, because this shit is bananas. It is bananas when you see it. And, you know, I've had a much different path than him. It was wild. Like he was able to spiritually awaken just kind of like that, got involved with some people and psychedelics and all that. And it's just fine. And, you know, I hear things about him from time to time. Doesn't seem like he's doing too well, but at the same time, he's so much more evolved than other people. He's so much more evolved. I just don't get it, man. That's what he told me. You just don't get it, man. You just don't get it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm willing to look inside myself and see where I don't get it. But I think I'm a mirror for him. And like this guy said in the beginning, we become mirrors for other people. That's why it's important that we know what's ours and what's other people. Own our shit and know our shit.
Knowing the truth. And if this went over your head, this video right here will connect the rest of the dots.
This video did not go over my head. Did it go over for anybody else's head? If it did, please go check out this guy's channel. Doorball. I love his editing style. I love it. I love that stuff. So was your enlightenment without consent? Did you have an enlightenment without consent? Were you ripped into the spirit world? Were you ripped apart in some way? Did you have some shit go down that caused you to spiritually awaken? Let me know in the comments, because I love it when you guys share your stories. I really love it when you tell me how you're doing. And also, if you just want to check in, you can check in on the channel. Yes, you can. All right, on to the next segment. The next video I'm going to show, it takes a different approach to enlightenment without consent. Like the last guy's was about drugs, psychedelics, like overusing drugs, all that kind of stuff. I kind of suspect he might still do that. I might suspect that. But this video is from a YouTube channel called Library of Tahushi, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, Tahuti. I'm not a know-it-all. I don't remember everything. But this video is animated, and it takes on a different story.
1937. An ordinary government clerk sits down for his morning meditation, same as he has done every single day for 17 years. Nothing unusual. Same time, same place, same technique. What he does not know is that in the next few minutes, his entire existence will be obliterated.
Whoa.
His name was Gopi Krishna. Boring job. 3 children. Wife who depended on him. The kind of person you pass on the street without a second glance. But that morning, as he concentrated on the crown of his head, like he had done thousands of times before, something snapped. A sound like a nerve thread breaking, then a roar like a waterfall. Liquid light shot up his spine and exploded in his brain. His own words: I was no longer a small point of awareness confined in a body, but instead was a vast circle of consciousness. Sounds beautiful, right? Here is...
That's the kind of awakening that Eckhart said that he had. I didn't have that necessarily kind of awakening. It was more tailored for the shamanic experience, like what a shaman would see, but it is very similar. Very similar.
It's what nobody tells you about enlightenment without consent. The light faded. He returned to ordinary consciousness. And then the real horror began.
I want to talk about this. I do want to tell you guys a little bit because I remember, having that go on, and I was walking around my apartment and I looked at all of the objects around my apartment. They look like props, and I was just marveling at them. I was like, I didn't place this here. It was like I was on a movie set. And I was like, wow, whoa, I didn't do this. I went into my walk-in closet, and there were all these clothes in there, and I'm like, they're costumes. And then like, I'm a character. And I remember, I didn't have a ceiling on my apartment. It was like a movie set, and there was just lights, and I sensed that there were these beings looking down on me. And, I was there in that space. I can't, like, maybe a couple hours, I don't know, just marveling at everything. And then the horror dawned on me, and I ran out of that apartment screaming. And I had on some ladies' track pants. Don't ask. I had some ladies' track pants on. They were cute. They fit me well. And I had on a white tank top. People want to call them a wife beater. And I was barefoot, and I was running through the streets of Chicago screaming. I felt like my face had been shot off. I thought there was blood pouring down my chin. And I got to this intersection in uptown Chicago, and I got to this intersection, and then like the whole matrix just fell away. Like everything turned, it was like in a movie. Everything turned into like a wireframe, and it just, like if you see a video game, but after the textures are applied, all the textures fell off the wireframes, and I was just standing there, and I was on a stage, and I was giving a TED talk, and I was talking about how real reality looked, and that if you have a copper taste in your mouth, that means that the simulation is getting ready to reboot or something like that. And I'm skipping over some things, but that was my experience of the horror of it. I was like, oh my God. And I eventually ended up in a hospital room. Somebody got a cab. I'll tell you the whole story sometime. It's really kind of interesting. Or not. Everybody who goes through awakening goes through it. It's not all that interesting, but it is kind of cool. At the same time, it is.
The man who had been a devoted family man suddenly felt nothing for his wife and children. Zero emotional connection. Food became repulsive. Sleep became impossible. His body felt like molten metal was flowing through his veins. Every nerve was on fire. For 12 years, this man lived in hell. Now, before you think I am being dramatic, consider this ancient Chinese story. A pottery master was asked to teach an eager student. The student begged for the secret techniques, the advanced methods, the mysterious knowledge that would make him a master overnight.
Ooh, people want that. People want to be a spiritual master. I love this story because people want to be a spiritual master. They do. They want to be like Eckhart. They want to be like, I don't know, Aubrey Marcus. They want that. They want to be the master instantly because the ego wants things instant. It wants it and it wants it now. It wants its money and it wants it now. I love this story. I've heard this story before, but I love it.
The teacher handed him a lump of clay and said, "First, spend a year learning how this clay feels in your hands. Understand its nature, its possibilities, its limitations. Then we will talk about making pots." The student was furious. He went to another teacher who promised to teach him advanced techniques immediately. Within a week, he was attempting elaborate vases and sculptures. Every piece he made collapsed. His hands had never learned the fundamental relationship with the clay. The first student spent his year with the clay. He learned its moods, its responses, its requirements. When he finally began making pots, they were simple but perfect. His foundation was so solid that advanced techniques came naturally. He had earned the right to work with the clay at higher levels. Your consciousness is infinitely more delicate than clay.
I love that. I actually love this a whole lot because when we want to be instant masters, I saw this happen in my brother-in-law and I saw it happen in my father-in-law. These were really the two people that I met after I had had my awakening. Ordinarily, I was just hanging out with other spiritual people, other people in recovery. Like I wasn't really mixing with general population. I wasn't mixing with Gen Pop. But when I got married and I got to know my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, they wanted in on this. They wanted in on what I was doing because Merrick was into it. They wanted in on what I was doing. And I encourage them. It's my fault. I fucked up. You see, I encourage them because even though it wasn't easy for me, I'm autodidactic. I can teach myself things. Not everybody has that ability. Doesn't make me special or unique, but I can teach myself how to do things. And I sent them books. I told them things. I told them things that they were not ready for. I told them things that take years of understanding and years of work, of inner work to get. And I was just handing it out to them. And that was my mistake. And it's no wonder that I don't have relationships with either of them right now because it is like I was trying to teach them how to do advanced pottery techniques when they hadn't even mastered how to make a fucking plate. Essentially. So you can make my mistakes if you want to. I don't know if those relationships will ever be repaired. I don't know about that. It's kind of up in the air right now. I don't think so. I think those bridges are burned. But at the same time, I recognize that I probably should have shut up about it. I probably should have kept it to myself. I probably should have made it seem like it was not all that interesting. I fucked up in that. I don't blame them at all. It's my fuck up. Because when Dolores Cannon has explained it like this. Can you teach a 8th grader advanced calculus? Well, maybe you can. Can you teach a 5th grader geometry? No, it's impossible. It doesn't mean that you're any better or any worse. But by the time I met my father-in-law, I had been doing this for 6 years at that point. And he found some old articles that I'd written in 2013. He was like, "Oh, you've been at this a while." And I'm like, "Well, you're damn right, I've been at this a while." And but he seemed to pick it up really quickly. But of course he didn't. And that might be why things are so difficult for my brother-in-law right now. Like they through knowing me, they were able to gain access to stuff that they were not ready for. And you can encounter things on this path that you're not ready for. You can. That's kind of the odd thing about our culture right now is you can stumble into an advanced spiritual teaching on YouTube that you are not ready for. Sometimes people will stumble into something that I have said and they'll get really upset about it. And I'll be like, whoa, more will be revealed. More will be revealed. More will always be revealed. We just got to wait for it. If I had to do it all over again, actually, I wouldn't, because my interactions with my father-in-law and my brother-in-law ended up with us writing a book. Everything we wanted to say to them, we put it in a book, and you can get it now on our shop at concreteshamans.com. The Machinations of Ego. Get it, read it, wake the fuck up. Okay, back to this video.
Yet modern spiritual culture encourages people to attempt advanced practices without spending time understanding the fundamental nature of their own awareness. They want the mystical experiences without the patient preparation. But wait, am I contradicting myself here? On one hand, I'm telling you consciousness is already perfect, and on the other hand, I'm saying it needs preparation. So which of this is true? Both? And neither at the same time, and this is where most people get confused.
The contradictions, like not being able to handle those contradictions, that's the ego's input. Because here's the thing, the ego is incredibly stupid. The ego is incredibly dumb. Most of our book is about showing people just exactly how stupid the ego is. It is dumb. It cannot understand spirituality. It cannot, because it is mortal. It doesn't understand things like divinity and immortality and how two things can be true at the same time. It can't stand that. It can't take it. The ego is so fucking dumb and stupid. When you know how completely garbage and inappropriate it is to be used for anything, you won't fuck with it anymore. And it takes a lot of convincing, took a lot of convincing of me to realize that using the ego for anything is just stupid, is dumb, it's inappropriate, it's ill-suited for the task of spirituality. Now, those contradictions can help break the ego apart. You know, stuff like, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Stuff like that. Things that don't make sense to the ego, but they do make sense to your true divine self. They surely do.
Your essence is already enlightened. That part needs no improvement. But your nervous system, your mind, your emotional body, these are the vessels that must be prepared to hold divine energy safely. Think of it this way. The ocean is perfect, but if you want to bring ocean water into your house, you better make sure your plumbing can handle the pressure. Here is where the spiritual marketplace becomes dangerous. Modern teachers promise you cosmic consciousness in a weekend retreat.
And I'm going to just dovetail off of here that I think the fake spirituality is like, it keeps the spiritual ego occupied, but it also has its purpose as well, because all this instant enlightenment and weekend awakening shit will ultimately fail. It will ultimately fail, and that will give rise to a true, genuine ego death spiritual awakening. I think it's happening perfectly. I think it's all happening according to a plan.
They claim they can activate your kundalini with a touch. They have turned sacred technology into consumer products. Ancient practices that were considered dangerous, even for advanced practitioners, are now sold as self-help techniques.
That's why I don't talk about shamanism all that much. I only do shamanism for people that I know personally, or people that I have deemed that they can handle it. I I can help people with soul retrievals. I can assist people with soul retrievals. But to do the balls to the wall, let's get freaky now shamanism, I can only do that with people I know will be able to handle it. Otherwise, it would be dangerous. I have fucked up a lot in the past by trying to help people who didn't want to be helped or who did not understand what a total transformation fucking looks like. And so, yes, I tell people stay away from shamanism, stay away from this stuff, stay away from this stuff. Because if you're built for it, when you're ready for it, the shaman that can help you will appear. Many cases, you'll be able to help yourself.
The traditional Eastern systems had elaborate safeguards. In Tibetan Buddhism, students spent years in preliminary practices before being given anything remotely dangerous. 9 levels of preparation, physical purification, mental training, philosophical understanding. The secret teachings were secret for a reason. They could devastate unprepared minds. Compare that to today. You can take a weekend course and be teaching others to activate Kundalini.
I think that's crazy. I think that is so crazy. You know, there's some people who worship this Kundalini awakening. They live by it. It's in their screen names. But I mean, that's not it. That's not it. And I think that overly focusing on these mystical experiences is not good for people. So you had a mystical experience. Big deal. Everybody has mystical experiences. And it looks so pretty and it looks so good. But all of it, almost all of it is spiritual ego. But again, it also has the benefit of it's not gonna work. So why spend money on it?
No preparation, no screening, no support system. This is like giving explosives to children and calling it education. And here is the part that makes my blood boil. When students have breakdowns from these practices, guess who gets blamed? The students. They are told they lack faith. They are told their suffering is ego resistance. This is spiritual gaslighting at its worst. The body has wisdom, the psyche has intelligence, the soul has timing. These natural protective systems exist for a reason. They regulate the flow of consciousness to prevent damage to the human system. Overriding them is not spiritual courage. It is spiritual violence. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what about all the people who have positive experiences?
Well, let's talk before they go on to that. Let's talk about it, because something I hear, critics of the manifestation community, and other people who criticize spiritual things that they don't understand. Yes, it is ego resistance, but I blame the ego. I don't blame people. It's all the ego. My work is all about helping people realize that it's not them, it's the ego. And here's what I think here's what I've discovered. Those people out there who can't be blamed for anything? It's not my fault, man. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Not my fault. And if I'm helping them or working with them and saying, but it's the ego. It's not you. It's not your fault. You're not doing anything wrong. It's the ego. All of a sudden, they will take ownership for everything. They'll say, oh, it's totally my fault. It is my fault. It is my fault. It is my fault. And that's how you know it's cuckoo. It's so cuckoo. It's crazy, man. It is just crazy. But most of, if not all of my work is helping people realize that they have an ego in the first place. So I would never blame people for stuff going on with their ego at all. And I say often, it's the ego. It's not your ego. It's not my ego. It's the ego. It's a program that runs on top of you. You really don't have that much to do with it. But onto that divine timing, the timing of a spiritual awakening, it'll happen when it's time. Like if you have a full-time job right now and you're messing around with spirituality, you're probably not going to awaken because it probably wouldn't be good for you, because you probably wouldn't be able to hold that job anymore. Like in the video we talked about yesterday with the midlife anti-crisis lady, you know, who had worked in healthcare, and she had a spiritual awakening, and it was kind of destructive in her life, but it was also time. It was the universe and the soul has its own timing, and we must lean into that. We may want things now, but if we understand it, it may not be good for us. Like last month, I had a video get a whole lot of views and I had a whole lot of comments, and it freaked me out because I wasn't ready for that at that time. But I also needed that to encourage me to keep going. So the soul has its own timing, and whatever you're working on in yourself and for other people, there's a timing for it, and you can't rush it. You can't hurry love, yo. You can't hurry love.
Sure, some people benefit from intensive spiritual practices, but we do not evaluate medical treatments based only on the people who survive them. We look at the full spectrum of outcomes, including the casualties. The pharmaceutical industry is required to list side effects, no matter how rare. Spiritual teachers should be held to the same standard. Meditation can cause dissociation and psychotic episodes.
I'll get a lot of criticism for encouraging people to be sober. I'm probably one of the safest shamans out there. Like I'm overly interested in the safety of the people that I work with and the people that I help. I'm overly cautious, and I let them know that it's going to completely remake you. It's going to completely remake your life. Even me pulling cards for people, it's going to completely remake them. And you, like spiritual teachers, have to tell people, you're probably going to discover that people that say they love you don't really love you. You're probably going to discover that you may not like your wife or your kids or whatever. If you like your life the way that it is, some people do. Some people like their life the way that it is. Engaging in spirituality is not going to be beneficial to them. Like with my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, spirituality was not good for them at all. It messed them up. It wasn't good for them. The soul is on its own timing. And in many ways, I fucked up because I was trying to force it on them. I wanted to be a part of their life. They wanted to be a part of my life. I'm spiritual. I'm awakened now. I'm a shaman. So let me catch you up to speed. Let me bring you up to speed. That was very arrogant of me to do. And it was very destructive of me to do. It destroyed my relationships with both of them. I think all those bridges are burned, but I don't know. I will report on it when I know more. But right now, nobody's talking to anybody. And isn't that weird with spirituality and shadow work? It does make your relationships better. It should make your relationships better if everybody's doing their part. But many times it makes things worse. And I like to warn people, your life is probably going to get a lot worse before it gets better. So use with care. Your mileage may vary.
Energy work can destabilize the nervous system. Intensive retreats can trigger spiritual emergency. These are not rare occurrences. They are predictable consequences. But here is the irony. The most dangerous teachers are often the ones who seem most powerful, most certain, most willing to push students beyond their comfort zones. They mistake intensity for authenticity. They confuse overwhelming students with transforming them. So how do you approach spiritual development safely? Like learning to drive. You start with the basics. Learn to manage your daily emotional reactions before attempting to commune with cosmic forces. Develop concentration through simple practices before trying advanced meditation techniques. Find teachers who ask about your readiness, not your desire. Who assess your stability, not your enthusiasm. who have proper training in both spiritual practices?
I'm going to tell you, like, if people want to work with me, they have to be sober. And they kind of have to have gone through a period of celibacy. I mean, I don't work with just anybody. I don't. I make sure that people are ready for what they're about to learn. Otherwise, it's just going to be a big mess. It's going to be a big mess. Now, I'll talk to people. I'll have sessions with people, but when people really want to work with me, they have to meet some criteria, because otherwise it's just, I've made these mistakes. I've learned, a real shaman or a serious shaman can't work with just anybody. It's not for just anybody. Do you picking up what I'm putting down?
And crisis management, who are more concerned with your safety than their reputation. Most importantly, maintain your discrimination. Spiritual development should enhance your critical thinking, not diminish it. If a teacher discourages questions or claims that doubt is a spiritual obstacle, that is a red flag.
Oh, that is a red flag. You should doubt. Doubt me, doubt your thoughts, doubt your government, doubt your doctor, doubt the power of doubt. You should doubt and ask questions. Always ask questions. And that's another thing. The people that I work with, I want people to be able to think critically. Critical thinking is a huge component of concrete shamanism. It is. Man, I'm starting to realize, like, there's no way I could be a cult leader. There's no way I could be a cult leader, because that reminds me whenever time I mention cult leaders, I want to remind people that we have a cult-free guarantee. I'm not starting a cult here. It takes too much time. It's too much energy. And plus, I want people to have critical thinking skills. So we'll probably never start a cult. But if I start doing culty shit, please call me out. Please call me out if you see me doing culty shit. And you have my permission.
Real spiritual authority welcomes honest inquiry. Your goal shouldn't be to have dramatic experiences that make you feel special. The goal is to become someone who can hold whatever consciousness offers with stability, wisdom, and grace. That requires preparation. That requires patience. Consider this. The ocean does not force itself upon the shore. It approaches gradually, respecting the capacity of the land to receive it. When the tide comes in too fast, it destroys rather than nourishes. Your spiritual development should follow the same principle. Gopi Krishna eventually stabilized. After 12 years of integration, he became a consciousness researcher and a warning voice for future generations. His gift to humanity was his absolute honesty about both the ecstasy and the agony of unprepared awakening. True spiritual maturity is knowing when to say yes to expansion and when to say no to experiences that would overwhelm your current capacity. Your consciousness is already perfect. Your essence is already enlightened. The work is not to acquire something new, but to remove the obstacles to recognizing what you already are. And that work proceeds best with your full understanding, your conscious consent, and your active participation in each step of the process. Anything else is not enlightenment. It is assault disguised as awakening.
Assault disguised as awakening. Look at this. Spiritual abuse. She's in your spine. He's in your balls. Look at all the stuff that I watch on YouTube. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. I really, really do. So essentially, it's come to this. If you're seeking enlightenment, stop. Stop. Let it happen naturally. Let it happen to you naturally. Let it unfold like a gentle flower, because I will warn you away from certain things. Some people want me to talk about the advanced stuff. Some people want me to go in deeper detail and all of that stuff. I'm probably not going to do it in a public place, in a public forum. It usually happens, that kind of stuff gets revealed when I'm sitting with somebody personally and I'm talking to them, and reality gets shifty and reality gets weird. And it happens, like, I know when people can handle certain information. I know when people are ready for it. And I can only hint at it. I prefer people to realize it on their own. Realizing it is so much better because people can't hear it anyway. I could tell you the truth right now and it would sound like gobbledygook. It doesn't mean I'm special or I'm unique or I've achieved anything. No. But what it does mean is that I have worked with enough people to know that not everybody can handle it, even though they say, give it to me. Looky here. The kind of awakening that I had was rare. Not everybody would be able to handle that type of awakening. They wouldn't. It doesn't make me special. It doesn't make me unique, but I was in a unique position in my life for that to be able to happen. I was living in Chicago. I didn't have a job. I was drinking at the time. I wasn't doing drugs that night, but I had some time. I also was in a mental institution for a year because of it. So I had some time to go through this complete reality destruction process. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. Not everybody's going to be able to handle that, nor does anybody want to go through that. So if you want instant enlightenment, do you want to go into a mental institution? Because that's where you're probably going to end up. Or you're probably going to have to do a lot of drugs to get through the day, to deal with everything. Nobody wants to be instantly enlightened. If you think that it's going to solve your problems, it's not. It's going to give you a whole lot of other problems. Look, I've warned everybody away from it. I've warned everybody away from wanting to be enlightenment. I've done my job. But there are those out there that still want it, or they think they want it. So you think you want to be enlightened. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. I'm going to play the new song, You Want to Be Enlightened by the Concrete Shamans, after I say thank you so much for watching these videos with me and hanging out with me. I want you to have a lovely day. If you want to support the work we do, please like and subscribe, comment, or use an emoji if you've got nothing to say. Share this content with others. Join this channel, support the work we do, and get access to members-only videos and features. Thank you for watching and growing with us. And I love you guys so much. And as you prepare for your next phase of your awakening. What are you doing to prepare for the next level of your awakening? What are you preparing for? With that, I'm going to say goodbye to you. Enjoy the song. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
So you wanna be enlightened? Say goodbye to sleep in peace. Choose a wrecking ball of silence that don't ask, it just deletes your fake ass grin, your comfort sins, the mask you wore since you were 10. It's all on fire, your life's expired. Welcome to the bitter end. Oh no, it's not a vibe, it's a funeral for your pride. You thought it'd be a crystal cleanse, but it's you alone without your friends. So you wanna be enlightened? Better bleed for what you seek. You'll lose your mind before you find it. Get ready to fall apart for weeks. Your heroes die, your stories burn. Every truth comes back to turn you inside out. No place to hide, but you'll finally feel alive. Shadow work ain't integrated.